When we work in SketchUp, we want to work accurately, and SketchUp has a number of measurement tools that you can use. Probably the most important one is the tape measure tool. So let's take a look at tape measure. Now you'll find it in your main interface here. It's the tape measure tool. The hotkey for that is the letter T. And it's really very simple. All you got to do is just drag it and it will tell you how big something is. So if I snap this to say this corner, drag it to that corner, you'll see here in the bottom right hand corner, you'll get a length. Now I can do that along this edge as well, or if I want, I can do it along a diagonal. Really, it'll create whatever you want. Now the tape measure tool can also be used to create guidelines to assist you with drawing. So let's say we wanted to draw some details along the front face of this about 3 feet down from the top. Well, I can select my tape measure tool, snap to this edge, left click and drag, and notice how I'm dragging down this dotted line. Now this is going to be a guide that I can use to draw on. And if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you can see the length. Now, if I go down 3 feet, you'll see it actually snaps to the bottom of that window. Now, if I wanted to, I could type the length I want in the measurement box. But at 3 feet, that means that now I have a guideline that I can snap to. So if I wanted to say, draw a box here that's 3 feet down from the top, I can do that. Now, these guidelines are really handy to draw accurately in SketchUp. Now, if you want to get rid of them, the easiest way to do that is to just take the eraser tool and just erase them. Now, the tape measure tool can be used to resize objects in your scene. So if you bring something in and it's not exactly the size you want, you can scale it to a known dimension. I find this is really handy when I bring in things such as floor plans or something like that. I don't really have a specific dimension coming in, but I can force that dimension using the tape measure tool. So let's do this actually fairly simply here. So I'm going to go to my tape measure tool, and I'm just going to go from here to here. So that length is 42 feet. If I left click on this and then just type a different dimension, it will rescale the model. So instead of 42 feet, let's say I want it to be 36 feet. If I hit enter, it's going to give me a warning. It says, do you want to resize the model? Okay. And now the model is smaller. And this dimension should be 36 feet, and it is. So if I wanted to put that back, all I have to do is, again, go 36 feet and type, what was it, 42? Yes, I want to resize, and now it's back to where it was. So the tape measure tool is really handy. Not only does it let you measure, it also allows you to create guidelines as well as resize parts of your model. If you want to measure angles or create guidelines for your scenes, you can use the protractor tool. So this is kind of like the sister of the tape measure tool, and you can find it in additional tools here. So here is protractor, and when you select this, you'll see this looks very familiar. So when you actually rotate an object, you'll find this very same type of icon. So in order to measure something, all we have to do is snap this to something like an endpoint in a group. And just like the rotate tool, you're going to left click to lock it down, drag out the first line, left click again, and then find the angle. Now you'll notice that when you get towards the edge of that roof, that line, it will snap to it. So if you left click again, it will show you the angle in the bottom right-hand corner here in the measurement box. So let's do that again for the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and snap to this corner, left click to lock it down, drag it out, left click again, and then snap. And again, that other one is 22 degrees. Now the protractor tool does create guidelines just like the tape measure tool. So I can use these guidelines to continue to draw. So if I wanted to maybe extend that roof and create something like a soffit or something like that, I can do that. But I'm going to just go ahead and erase these for now, just to clean up the scene. And let's use those guidelines to do something else. So I'm going to go over here and let's create another gable end roof using the protractor. So I'm going to select my protractor tool, snap to this endpoint, drag it out, and then we can drag up an angle. So in this case, let's say we wanted, say, 30 degrees. That will create a 30-degree angle. Now, if you work in architecture, there are times when you'll want to create something like a roof pitch that isn't exactly a degree. So a lot of architects work in pitches such as 412 or 812, and we can also do that. So in addition to just typing in the degrees, you can type in the pitch. So I'm going to go to my protractor tool. Again, lock it down, drag it out, and this time, instead of typing an angle, I'm going to type 8:12, and that means 812 pitch. Hit enter. There we go. Let's do that on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and lock it down, drag it out, and then on that third drag, I'm going to go 8:12. So now I have two guidelines that represent an 812 pitch. If we want to draw a gable end roof, that's pretty easy. All I'm going to do is snap to this endpoint. And then you can see I can snap to that intersection, keep drawing, snap to this endpoint, and that creates a face. And then I can go to my push-pull tool and then snap to that endpoint. And now I have a gable end roof at 812 pitch. And then once I'm done, I can use my eraser tool to get rid of those guidelines. So the protractor tool is a great way to not only measure angles, but also create guidelines at specific angles to use as a drawing tool. SketchUp Free also allows you to add text and labels to your drawing using the SketchUp text tool. Now you can find this in your additional tools here. We have the text tool. Now this is different than the 3D text tool that we used before, and once you use it, you'll understand that. So let's go ahead and select text, and you'll see you get a little dot. And so what we want to do is just anchor that. I'm going to go on face and block wall, left click and drag, and you see you can drag out this label. Now, it defaults to the actual name of the object, but let's say we wanted to identify the materials used in this scene. So I can type in, say, concrete block. And once I click off of that, you'll see that it's in the scene. So let's do this one more time. And let's go ahead and go here. So I'm going to go ahead on that face here. Left click, and so let's say that material is metal siding. And then deselect that. And so now I've got these two labels in the scene. Now notice how they always face where I'm at, and if I want, I can use my move tool to move these around. So if I wanted to move those, say, back, or I wanted to move those forward, I can. So in this case, I think it's a good idea to have these a little bit forward so that they don't intersect with the roof. And we can also change these. So let's say I select metal siding. I can go to Entity Info. I can change the font, maybe to, say, Oswald. I can make it bigger. I can change the endpoints. I can also change the alignment. And I can also change the material, which will basically just change the color. Now, another way to modify these is to just select them and right-click on them. So I can edit the text if I want to, or I can change the arrow to an open or closed arrow, as well as a push pin or hidden type of leader. So as you can see, it's very straightforward, but it's a great way to label and identify things in your scenes. Another way to add information to your scene is to use the dimensioning tool. And so this allows you to specify dimensions in your scene. So we can find this in our additional tools, dimensions. So when I select this, it brings up this tool, and all I have to do is left click, drag, and I'm snapping to these endpoints, and then I'm going to drag up because I want this dimension above that roof. So now I have that dimension. So let's go ahead and do another one. I'm going to select my dimensioning tool, snap to this corner, snap to that corner, and again, drag that up. So now I've got those dimensions. Now I can modify these, so I'm going to go ahead and select this dimension. I can go into the Entity Info window. I can change the font, the size of the font. I can also change things such as alignment. So how does this align? Is it in the middle? Is it on top? Is the text position at one side or in the middle? And then are the endpoints arrows or dots or something else? Now I can also do a lot of that by selecting it and right-clicking on it as well. So I can change my text position to centered or outside. But if I want to change things such as the font, I will have to go into the Entity Info window. So here we have those dimensions. Now if you want to, you can also select these. And if you want to, you can use the Move tool to adjust them however you want. So as you can see, dimensioning is very easy, and it's a great way to communicate specifics about your drawing to other people. A section plane can reveal a lot of information about your building. Basically, it's just a cutaway. Now, this is great for things such as floor plans. It can also be used as a modeling tool. So let's go ahead and use the section plane. We can find it here in our additional tools here, and it's called section plane. And when I select that, you'll see that it's trying to snap to various planes in the scene. But I just want to snap to the blue axis. So I'm just going to put it out here and left click. And when I do, well, this happens, but I can select my Move tool, select the section plane, and then I can just move it up or down. So if I'm moving it, you'll see that basically it just creates a section of my scene. So if I move it down so that I can see inside of this, maybe I can go over to Scenes here, go to a standard view, go to a top view, and maybe with a parallel projection. And so now I've got basically a floor plan. Or I can rotate off of that and use it maybe as a modeling tool. So let's say this particular building really doesn't have any detail inside. I don't have any interior walls. But now, with the walls opened up, it's going to be a lot easier to maybe draw some rectangles here and then use my push-pull tool to push those up into walls. And that would be a lot harder if that section plane wasn't there. I would have to go inside that building. So it's much easier to just open that up and model within the building. So this can be used to create things such as floor plans or elevations or sections. You can also use it as a modeling tool. And if you don't want this in the scene, you can always just select the section plane object and delete it, and it is no longer in the scene.